Hello, good morning. It is my weigh-in time of day and I have lost a pound. So yeah, really happy it's happening. It's dropped again, and you know, at this point every pound off is going to stay off because I've got a big operation on Wednesday. So 2 sleeps, and yeah, anything that goes on really is only going to be bloating and air and all of that kind of thing. So yes, happy, really pleased. So today I thought I would discuss with you why I came to the conclusion of a gastric bypass and not a gastric sleeve or any of the other amazing and vast options that there are in surgery, and of course non-surgical measures. So to start with, I have done about every diet that there is known to man that isn't a surgical option. I have had medicational diets as well to try. I've had Orostat and sort of over-the-counter remedies, carb cutters, fat cutters, all of that kind of thing. I'm going to do separate videos on what I thought of each one of those at a later date. Of course, there's many options out there. The one thing I found with friends that had the bands, they were successful and they worked fabulously, but in the short term they mostly got to their goal weight and quite quickly, but they had to keep having follow-up appointments and fills, and there was worrying restrictions to do with the band itself. Not to speak ill of people, but all of the people I know have had bands have gone on to gain their weight back. The hospital that I'm using themselves didn't speak highly either of the band option. The other thing, from being at the hospital and speaking to other patients that have been on the list and gone through the process like I have been, lots of them have actually previously and privately paid for the band and are now having the band out and having a more permanent procedure done. My own personal observations have taught me that it wasn't what I wanted to go for. The so-called mini bypass is a really great option, but myself, I have a reflux and IBS, and we're taught that that option can actually increase and cause problems in that way, and it isn't for people that suffer in that way. So that was completely ruled out for me. Although it is meant to be much easier to heal from, and actually a safer operation, I've been told. The gastric sleeve for me was the closest option that I really weighed up and thought about. So the gastric sleeve is not dissimilar to the bypass, but the stomach itself is made more into a banana shape. There's less chance of malnutrition. Restrictive enough, actually, for me. For me, I really felt all along that if I was going to go for it, I was going to go for it. I was going to go for the most drastic one, the most, in my eyes, helpful one. So that's what I've gone for. I've gone for the gastric bypass. So my stomach will be about the size of an egg. Nothing's taken out or thrown away or anything like that. It is literally just bypassed. So kind of have two stomachs. One stomach will be what I eat and fill and goes into my small intestine, and that will feed me and nourish me. And then there's the other stomach, which will never see food again, larger, and it will feed only into the small intestine. It will not have any in, only out. So that stomach, if you like, that will produce hormones still, and it will produce, you know, your healthy acids, your healthy gut biles, all of that. So again, not thrown away, not taken out, just bypassed. And the two parts of the intestine are cut and attached further down. So this means that part of that small intestine won't be absorbing the foods, won't be absorbing the goods and the bads. So there's a small help with, I guess, a little bit less calories being absorbed. But the main way that this whole thing works is that you're having your stomach restricted, your meals will be restricted. But not only that, there's a hormone that's in the very pit of your bypass stomach that produces where food will never ever touch again. And that hormone says, I'm not satisfied, I want more, feed me, feed me, feed me. And when food cannot touch it and will not touch it, it has to almost evolve. And they think now that that is the reason why the gastric bypass is so successful, because that hormone itself is not being provoked, it's not being antagonised, you're not suffering from it like you did before. And people like myself are thought to have, I guess, an overactive, angry little hormonal beast in there that just wants to, you know, provoke and get you fatter all of the time. Eat, 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 eat. You know, if you listen to it or not, you suffer from it. So I am excited to think that, you know, that little monster will never get food again. That's a good thing. So downsides to the gastric bypass, you know, we talked about the risk of malnutrition, things like iron deficiencies, that kind of thing. So I'll be on a vitamin every day for the rest of my life. Overseeing bloods and things to make sure that, you know, B12s and all that kind of thing are okay. Some people have 6 monthly, yearly jab or whatever. But really it's small fry. Honestly, it's small fry stuff. To me, I think, other than the grief that, you know, I won't ever be able to eat as I want to or used to, but again, there's grief in that, there's celebration in that, so it cancels itself out, but it's major all the same. I think it's the worry, of course, of a major operation. There's risks in having a major operation, and I do know people horror stories. So it's sobering, but you know, you have to not ignore these things. You do have to think things through, and you'll need to think things through for yourself as well. Please don't just listen to me if you're watching these videos and you're making a decision just on what I'm saying. Please don't really think about it and speak to your own doctors, speak to surgical staff, and get as much information as you can. So, as I've said before, I made this decision 8 years ago, and I've been in the referral process and the waiting list and everything for 4 years. So I've done lots of research, and I believe the age that I'm at, and how things are for me, that this is going to be the absolute best chance I've got of living a healthy, long life. One of my main things about having this operation is to prevent diabetes and to prevent other horrible illnesses that I could develop from being the size that I am. I feel very blessed that I haven't already developed these things. So I do have lots of other things and lots of other problems, which makes me feel even more so that I don't want it anymore. So sorry to bring the tone down, but we've got to be real. And of course, the surgery itself is going to be painful. I know it's going to be painful. I know it's going to be hard. I'm expecting a week, really 5 days especially, of grimness. So food for thought, pause for thought, maybe might be more appropriate. Yeah, my post diary for 5 days at least is probably going to be a bit, oh no, what have I done? So, I'm on lots of forums and lots of pages, and lots of people write and say, oh no, what have I done? Can I have this reversed? And so the NHS say that it can't be reversed, but online there's lots of people that have said that they have had it reversed. I mean, ultimately they're not taking anything out, but I don't like the odds of them being able to put things back to how it was, and I certainly don't fancy really going through it once. I definitely don't want to be going through it twice in reverse. Just for a little bit of fun, I found some images on the internet of replica fat, for it to be the scale of 5 and 1 pounds, and I'm going to cram them all together to show you how much I've lost. This is what I had for lunch.